There is this moment, and if you're past 40, you probably know the exact one I mean. It doesn't happen while you're standing under the bright lights of a gym or posing in front of a mirror. It happens somewhere quiet. You're tying your work boots or climbing out of your buddy's Mustang, and as you swing your leg out, your hip catches, and your lower back tightens up. And right then, you wince. You sit there for a second, hand resting on the cold door frame, and this realization hits you right in the chest. That 25-year-old body isn't coming back. Now, I want to tell you something right off the bat today. That isn't a failure on your part. That's just physics meeting biology, meeting time. By the time we finish talking today, you're going to see your body in a completely different light. You're going to understand why chasing that old young man physique is actually keeping you beat up, sore, and exhausted. And more importantly, you'll know how to build a body that actually serves you for the next 30 years. A body that shows up when real life demands it. The real trouble most of us run into after 40 comes down to keeping score with an old playbook. A playbook written for a 22-year-old who cared more about how he looked in a mirror than how he actually felt moving through a normal Tuesday. So let's talk about what happens when you stop fighting time and what comes next. Because honestly, what comes next is a whole lot better.
When guys hear the phrase, good enough body, a lot of them flinch. It sounds like you're waving a white flag in the wind. It sounds like surrender. Like you're giving up, buying the extra wide lawn chair and settling for defeat. Well, I get why people think that. But choosing a definition of progress that actually works now isn't giving up. Think about what a truly capable body looks like when you're 45 or 55. It's a body that can lift a couple of heavy bags of concrete out of the bed of a truck without your lower back staging a 4-day protest.
It's a body that can walk for an hour through town on a Saturday with your family without your knees writing strongly worded complaint letters to your brain. It's a body that recovers in a couple of days instead of taking 3 weeks to get over a light afternoon of yard work. It's a body that lets you play, travel, work on the house, carry heavy luggage up 2 flights of stairs, and just live without constantly having to negotiate around pain. Sure, it might not photograph as well under those harsh overhead gym lights. It might not look like a fitness magazine cover, but it performs better where it actually counts, in real life. And after 40, let's be honest, real life is the only test that actually matters. Let's talk about why the old aesthetics game has an expiration date, because we've all tried to hang on to it way longer than we should have. In your 20s, you could get away with absolute murder. I remember it clearly, and I'm sure you do too. You could undereat all week. You could overtrain until you could barely drag your legs behind you. You could sleep like garbage for 3 nights straight, pound a half-dozen cold beers on Saturday night with the guys, and still wake up on Monday morning looking fairly fit in a t-shirt. Your body was forgiving back then. It took the abuse, swallowed it down, and just swept it right under the rug. Try running that same playbook after 40. Go ahead, try it. It turns on you real fast. Suddenly, you're paying interest on every single bad decision.
You end up with this chronic, nagging joint pain in your elbows and shoulders that never quite goes away. You get these minor muscle strains that linger for 4 or 5 months. Your body feels run down, your energy drops, and your hormones get weird. And the crazy thing? Most of us keep pushing through it anyway. We burn ourselves out, but we call it discipline because that word sounds noble. We tell ourselves we're just being tough, sticking to the grind. Chasing a six-pack after 40 gets expensive. I don't mean expensive in terms of money, though Lord knows the supplements and gym memberships add up. I mean expensive in terms of your actual daily energy. Expensive in terms of recovery time. Expensive in terms of your mood when you come home to your family at 5:30 in the evening, completely spent. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud in those fitness commercials. If your body looks great in a reflection, but it hurts just to lie down in bed at night, well, that's just expensive theater. So what are we actually aiming for here? The real shift in the second half of life is moving away from looking strong and moving toward actually being strong. Forget chasing numbers on an iron barbell just to impress a bunch of strangers who aren't even watching you anyway. I'm talking about life strength. Before I go any further, I need to admit something to you, because I spent years doing this exact idiot move myself. Back when I turned 41, I was still convinced I had to bench press 300 pounds like I did in my late 20s. I went into the gym one rainy Tuesday afternoon, cold outside, about 5:30 after a long workday. My right shoulder had been aching for 2 weeks. Just a dull, angry throb every time I reached overhead to grab a tool off a shelf. Did I listen to it? Of course not. I was disciplined, right? I was tough. I loaded up the bar. Didn't even warm up properly. Just did 2 quick warm-up sets, threw 3 plates on each side, and laid down on that cold vinyl bench. I unracked the bar, lowered it to my chest, and pressed up. Halfway up, I heard it. A sound like a thick piece of wet canvas tearing right inside my shoulder joint. A sharp, burning heat shot straight down my arm. The bar tilted, and I had to dump the weights off the right side with a loud, embarrassing crash that made every single person in the gym stop and look over. I sat up on the bench, holding my right arm, face red as a beet. You know what that little piece of ego cost me? $400 in physical therapy copays out of pocket. 6 months where I couldn't sleep on my right side without waking up groaning. I couldn't even reach into the backseat of my truck to grab my lunchbox without a spike of pain. My wife had to help me put on my winter coat for 2 weeks. Standing there on the rug in our hallway, watching her zip up my coat while I stood there like a helpless kid. Man, that was my wake-up call. All of that damage for a bench press number that literally no human being on earth cared about except my own foolish pride. That was the day I realized I needed to stop destroying my joints for gym points. Life strength is what matters now. It's the strength that shows up when you're hauling 4 bags of heavy mulch from the back of the car to the garden bed. It's being able to help a neighbor move a heavy sleeper sofa up a narrow flight of stairs without wondering if you're going to end up in the emergency room. It's what happens when you slip on a patch of black ice in the driveway in December. A body with life strength catches itself. Your core engages, your leg plants, and you stay on your feet. A fragile body, a body built just for show, folds up fast. This kind of strength builds slower,
I won't lie to you about that. It doesn't happen overnight. But here's the beauty of it. It sticks around much longer. It comes from using moderate weights that you can actually control through the entire movement. Clean reps, not ego reps where you're bouncing the weight off your chest or twisting your spine just to get it up. It comes from doing fewer exercises, but doing them way better. If you're still destroying your shoulders, your knees, or your lower back, trying to hit numbers on lifts that wreck your joints, maybe it's time to sit down and renegotiate with yourself. At some point after 40, every man realizes his joints have developed opinions. Strong opinions. And those joints, they vote every single morning, the moment your feet hit the cold floor beside your bed. Training for longevity means you start respecting that vote. It means you warm up like it actually matters, because it does. In your 20s, a warm-up was 2 arm circles and a deep breath. At 45, a warm-up is 15 minutes of getting oil into the machine so you don't snap a cable. It means choosing ranges of motion that feel solid and stable, not testing the absolute structural limits of your ligaments just because a book told you to go deeper. It means swapping out movements that consistently cause you pain, even if those movements are considered classic exercises that every gym guru preaches about. If heavy barbell back squats make your lower back feel like it's jammed with crushed glass for 3 days afterward, stop doing them. Find a variation that works for your body structure. Pain isn't a badge of honor anymore. It's just feedback. Ignoring that feedback doesn't make you tough. It just makes you older, faster. So, if six-pack abs and giant bench press numbers aren't the main metrics on the scoreboard anymore, what is? What are we actually tracking? Let's break down the metrics that actually matter for the second half of life. First, grip strength. It turns out that grip strength is one of the strongest predictors of overall health and longevity as we age. If your hands are weak, if you can't carry a pair of heavy dumbbells or hold onto a pull-up bar for 30 seconds without your fingers slipping, your whole physical foundation is probably shaky. Second, walking pace. Can you step out your front door right now and walk briskly for 20 or 30 minutes without needing a full recovery day tomorrow? That simple test tells you more about your heart, your lungs, and your real-world stamina than most gym equipment ever will. Third, recovery speed. How long does it take for you to feel normal and energetic after a hard physical effort? If a workout leaves you feeling like you got hit by a gravel truck for 4 or 5 days, you aren't building yourself up. You're training way past your actual capacity to recover. Fourth, pain-free range of motion. Can you squat down to check a tire on your truck, hinge at the hips to pick up a tool off the floor, reach overhead to grab a heavy box off a top shelf, rotate your torso to look behind you while backing up the car, all without discomfort? That pain-free movement beats how much weight is loaded onto a steel bar every single time. And fifth, consistency. The single best physical program on earth is the one you can follow month after month, year after year, without getting hurt or burned out. Not the extreme program that promises total transformation in 90 days, but leaves you broken in 6 months. None of those 5 metrics show up in a mirror selfie. None of them are going to get you thousands of likes on social media. But every single one of them shows up when you're living your actual life. Now, let's talk about something quiet for a minute. Something most men don't like to admit out loud. Letting go of your old physique, letting go of that younger, leaner, faster version of yourself, it can feel like a real loss. You remember how you used to look in a fitted shirt. You remember how effortless it felt to run up a flight of stairs or pick up a heavy weight without thinking twice. You remember that people noticed. There is real grief in realizing that version of you belonged to a season of life that is over now. It's okay to acknowledge that grief. It's normal. But here's what comes right behind it if you let it. There is also incredible relief in it. You finally stop fighting time. You stop trying to negotiate with your body like it's a stubborn teenager that you can just force into submission if you yell loud enough. You start working with your body instead of against it. And you know what the weird irony is? Most men who actually make this mental shift, guys who stop chasing 20-year-old aesthetics and start training for capability, they actually end up looking better. They look more solid, more grounded, more natural. Compared to the guys who are still punishing themselves every single day, trying to recreate their youth through extreme restriction, joint pain, and sheer frustration, a man who has made peace with his age carries himself with a quiet confidence that you can feel from across the room. Progress after 40? It's quieter. It's less dramatic. It looks like adding one clean rep to a set instead of trying to max out your lift. It looks like finishing a session feeling better and more energized than when you walked in, instead of dragging yourself out to your car completely wrecked. It looks like knowing you can do this exact same routine next week, next month, and 5 years from now. You don't need to train like a 20-year-old college athlete anymore. You need to train like a man who wants a strong, reliable, capable body for the next 20 or 30 years of his life. The good enough body is anything but mediocre. It's resilient. It's reliable. It shows up when you need it most. It doesn't demand constant, obsessive attention. It doesn't punish you if you have to miss a week of workouts because work got busy or family came to visit. It doesn't fall apart under normal life stress. And one day, usually when you're watching someone your own age struggle just to carry a bag of dog food or wince while bending down to pick up their keys, you realize something quietly powerful. You didn't lower the bar. You just chose the right one. That's not giving up, my friend. That's growing up. Physically, mentally, and honestly. And in the second half of life, that is a trade worth making every single time. If this perspective helped you reframe things today, I want to hear from you down in the comments. Drop a note below and tell me what's one exercise or movement that used to be easy in your 20s that you've had to rethink after 40. I read through those comments, and it helps other guys in this community know they aren't alone. Consider subscribing to the channel for more straight talk like this. Take care of yourselves out there. I'll talk to you soon.